But first, let's catch up with the month's sporting headlines. For the third time in his career, Payne Stewart celebrated victory in one of golf's major championships. The winning putt, however, doesn't begin to tell the story of the 99th US Open. For 4 days in North Carolina, the world's leading players struggled to come to terms with Pinehurst #2. With its laden bunkers, unforgiving rough and tricky pin placements on elevated greens, the course yielded just 29 subpar rounds and drove Masters champion Jose Maria Olazabal to despair, the Spaniard breaking a bone in his hand when he punched a wall following a first-round 75. Late on the final day, 4 players were still in the hunt. US PGA champion Vijay Singh saw his luck run out at the 14th. As for Tiger Woods, his challenge gathered momentum with birdies at 14 and 16. But faltered with a bogey at 17. Playing in the final match, 1991 champion Payne Stewart produced the save of the tournament on the 16th green to retain a share of the lead with his playing partner Phil Mickelson. To the 17th, where Stewart looked to drive home his advantage. Mission accomplished. Not to be outdone, Mickelson produced the perfect response. In the scorer's tent, Tiger knew his challenge had died. Having done the hard work, Mickelson, the only one of the 4 not to have won a major, was finally betrayed by his putter, handing the initiative back to Stewart, who made his birdie. And so to the 18th, and the putt that enabled the US Open specialist to finish under par, the only player to do so in one of the most absorbing major championships for years. 3 weeks after winning the US Women's Open, Juli Inkster was in contention at the McDonald's LPGA Championship. Last year's champion Seri Pak returned to winning ways the previous week, but here in Delaware, the South Korean finished tied for 7th. Lieselot Neumann made a move on day 4. Without a win in '99, the Swede joined Inkster and another American, Nancy Scranton, at the top of the leaderboard. Scranton eventually finished joint 3rd, a stroke adrift of Neumann, but 5 behind Inkster, whose final round 65 enabled the 39-year-old to become only the 2nd woman, after compatriot Pat Bradley, to complete a coveted career Grand Slam of modern major titles.
Wouldn't be surprised. Yes!
What a way to end it. Whistle, but away.
In Asunción, Paraguay's social and economic problems were temporarily forgotten as a spectacular opening ceremony signaled the start of the 39th Copa America. In the opening match, Peru took on Japan, who were making a guest appearance in the South American Championship. Japanese football has been buoyed by the country's good showing in the recent World Youth Championship, and coach Philippe Troussier is hoping to build on that success at senior level. The Frenchman insists his team is not just here to make up the numbers. Unfortunately for Troussier, Japan were no match for the Peruvians on opening night and now have it all to do in Group A, with tough matches against Bolivia and host Paraguay still to come. Much has been made of the 2 goalies minding the nets in the NHS Stanley Cup finals. In Game 4 in Buffalo, Dominik Hasek came up big for the Sabres. With the help of his defenseman, the Dominators saved 30 Dallas shots, restricting the Stars to just 1 goal on the night. At the other end, Ed Belfour was beaten twice. Goals from Jeff Sanderson and Dixon Ward lifted the Sabres to a 2-1 victory, levelling the 7-game series at 2-2. To Dallas for Game 5, where Belfour did a Hasek. The Stars' last line of defence shut out the Sabres for the first time in this series. Meanwhile, Dominic failed to dominate between the other pipes, conceding this power play goal to Daryl Seidor early in the 2nd period. And when the game's greatest goalie failed to stop the odd man rush, Dallas knew they were just 1 win from the cup. Verbeek may have scored the game-clinching goal, but it was the performance of Belfer that caught the eye.
Yeah, he had a really good game, you know, especially in the third period. He made a couple of very good saves, and you know, anytime you have shutout, you know, it's like I say, you know, he really played really well tonight.
Back on home ice for Game 6, Hasek got off to an inauspicious start, failing to keep out Jere Lettinen's pass-come shot midway through the first period. Into the second period, and Stu Barnes saved his goalie's blushes and kept the Sabres' dreams alive. With the cup waiting in the wings, the game went into overtime. Buffalo's James Patrick beat Belfer, but not the pipes. Finally, almost 6 hours after it all began, Brett Hull scored a controversial goal to bring down the curtain on the second longest finals game in NHL history. The star winger got away with a skate in the crease to secure the trophy for Dallas just 6 years after the franchise relocated from Minnesota. From ice hockey to roller hockey, and Argentina's Juan Oviedo did his best impression of Hasek against host Spain in the final of the 35th Men's World Championship. Roller hockey is mourning the death of Antonio Livramento, the Pele of the sport, who won 3 world and 7 European titles with Portugal. Gabriel Cairo helped to lift the gloom. He scored the only goal of the game as Argentina secured a 4th world crown. Queensland fell behind to New South Wales when Melbourne winger Matt Geyer went over in the opening exchanges of the 3rd and deciding game of Australian Rugby League State of Origin Series. But Queensland, winners of the first encounter, were in no mood to disappoint a capacity 40,000 crowd at Suncorp Stadium. The Maroons overturned the deficit with tries from North Queensland's Paul Green and this effort from Brisbane's Darren Lockyer. But the Blues bounced back. Gayer's second try of the game levelled the scores at 10 each and handed Penrith centre Ryan Girdler the chance to settle the series with the boot. The draw, the first in the State of Origin's 19-year history, enabled Queensland to retain the trophy by virtue of being defending champions. In Wellington, New Zealand's rugby union team put a terrible 1998 season firmly behind them against France. Local favourite Tana Umanga was in the thick of the action and set up a try for Justin Marshall before he scored himself. Umanga earned a starting place in the team ahead of the All Blacks' biggest star, Jonah Lomu, and the winger went on to prove it was no hometown decision, picking up a hat-trick. France were woeful in the Five Nations Championship and suffered another drubbing here in the final international to be played at historic Athletic Park. Their miserable day was completed when some stamping by Jean-Jacques Krenke earned the replacement hooker a red card and a 6-week ban. With Australian rules, football's AFL season well past its halfway point, 2 of the form teams, Essendon and the Western Bulldogs, met at the MCG. Paul Barnard goaled early on for the ladder-topping Bombers. Another major looked assured when Essendon's goal-kicking star Matty Lloyd got the ball. Injury was added to insult as Lloyd was forced out of the game after damaging an ankle in the tackle. As the heat rose in a desperately tight encounter, it was Essendon's Mark McCurry who put the Bombers back on top late in the show.
Going for his second goal, and the Bombers lead by 6.
But the Doggies pulled back on level terms thanks to Rowan Smith's 5th goal of the match.
Took it on, gave it to Robbins to full forward. Rowan Smith from 50, doesn't mind this. Rowan Smith! He's kicked 5!
It wasn't enough though, as Essendon nosed ahead to take a victory that kept them joint top of the ladder, along with West Coast and the Kangaroos.
Witness a ball fight.
Introducing Daisuke Matsuzaka, currently the hottest property in Japanese baseball. The 18-year-old pitcher came to prominence last year after leading Yokohama High School to victory in the national championships, a performance which convinced the Seibu Lions to make him their #1 draft pick. When training camp opened a few months later, the media and the fans were at the ready. An incredible 15,000 spectators turned out to catch a glimpse of Matsuzaka, among them hundreds of teenage girls who've been attracted to the ballparks by the pitcher's boyish good looks. On the mound, Matsuzaka has exceeded all expectations. In only his fourth appearance against the Chiba-Lotta Marines, the right-hander delighted the Lions' biggest crowd in over a decade by becoming the first rookie in 33 years to pitch a shutout. Now, after 10 starts, Matsuzaka has 61 strikeouts and 6 wins to his name, the most recent of which came here in a rematch with the Marines. A likely starter for the Pacific Division in the forthcoming All-Star Series, this season's only serious candidate for Rookie of the Year honours, could soon be firing his fastball in the major leagues of North America. There was a bumper crowd of over 100,000 in Assen to see the Dutch Grand Prix, round 7 of motorcycling's 500cc World Championship. Starting from pole, Tadayuki Okada set the early pace, but it was the Japanese rider's Repsol Honda teammate Alex Crivier who hit the headlines and the track. After 4 straight wins, the standings leader came down to earth with a crash that resulted in a dislocated hip for the Spaniard. With Crivier and 5-time world champion Australia's Mick Doohan ahead of him in the pecking order, Okada has often failed to impress at Honda. But with Alex out of the race and Quick Mick out of action indefinitely, Okada rose to the occasion. The 32-year-old led from start to finish to secure his first win of the season. Hungary was the setting for Rhythmic Gymnastics' 15th European Championships. The sport combines dance and gymnastics, and competitors perform either individually or in a group in each of the 5 disciplines. In the individual all-around competition, Russia's Alina Kabayeva scored a perfect 10 with ball and here with the hoop, performances which helped her retain the title. Traditionally, the sport is dominated by the former Soviet states. Greece is one of the countries challenging that supremacy. Here in Budapest, they impressed in the ribbon and hoop on the way to securing a first team gold. Back in the 17th century, so the story goes, young sheep drovers in the thriving English wool market town of Tetbury, Gloucestershire, would seek to impress the local damsels by racing each other up the town's steepest hill with a pack of fleeces on their back. The event continues today as the Woolsack Racing World Championship. The local rugby club lugged the 60-pound sacks to victory in this year's relay, and all the effort was clearly worthwhile.
Keep breathing. I've been better. I've been a lot better.